You are listening to the Young Black Travelers podcast. Black voices talking on experiential travel, dedicated to creating a global community of travelers. So, be bold, be inspired, be spontaneous. We are YBT.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I am Simone back here on Young Black Travelers podcast. And today I'm going to be talking to Gabe. Gabe, say hi.
How's everyone doing?
So glad to finally get you onto this podcast. We're going to be talking about some interesting things. But first, I just want you to tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I've been following y'all for a little while. I just really love what you guys have going on. So thank you for inviting me to come on today.
Awesome.
A little bit about me. My name is Gabe, Gabriel, whatever you prefer. I currently live in New York City. Been here almost a decade now. I'm originally from Florida. I'm a Florida boy at heart, from Central Florida, Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
Love Florida, love the South. Chicken, fried chicken, collard greens, baked beans, you name it, love it all. But I've been in New York, like I said, now for 10 years. And I've really enjoyed the change of pace here in New York City, just as far as like, the rapidness of the city, and pretty much there's just always being something to do. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. I love being living in Queens, but even though I live in Queens, most of the stuff that I do is actually in Brooklyn. Whether it's church or work, whatever it might be. I just spend most of my time in Brooklyn, but love the city life in general and just enjoy being in New York City and taking in all it has to offer for this past almost a decade now.
Awesome. Nice. Well, I can't say welcome to New York. You've been here for so long, right? For 10 years, you said?
Yeah, almost it'll be 10 years this
Yeah.
August 2025.
Well,
So
happy 10 years soon.
you appreciate it.
So thank you for that. And so can you tell us a little bit about your travels, like why travel and what are some of your favorite destination? What does travel do for you?
Yeah. So I moved to New York. I have a political science background. So I had in undergrad, I majored in political science, moved to New York with the expectation of hopefully working in that region, that realm, whether it was might have been the United Nations or a local government office. And got here, and I was standing in JFK and looking at all the different flights that they had. I was like, wow, this place is busy. It's packed. Like there's so many different places you can go from this
Mhm.
one. I don't want to say little airport, but when you look at it on a map, I mean, yes, it's like a big piece of
Correct.
land it's at, but from this one location, you can go to so many different other places. I found that really cool. So I originally moved to New York, worked for Air France for 2 years, and
Nice.
that was great. For me, that was like the start, I guess, the birth
Mm-hmm.
of my desire to travel, because when you're working in that atmosphere, you're every day you're seeing people going from New York City and they're going to different places. I mean, Air France, obviously we only flew from New York to Paris, but people would often connect to places that
Mm,
were well past Paris, Eastern Europe, Africa, Asia. You just see so many people going to so many different places, and for me, that was just like, wow, like
yeah.
what am I doing here, sitting here in New York City when there's so much more world to explore?
Right.
So for me, that was like the eye-opening thing. I was like, wow, I don't know if I want to go on this political science route anymore. Maybe I should try something different,
Mm-hmm.
and see what this whole travel thing is really all about. And I got to experience so many different things through being at Air France for 2 years. I was there for, and then I switched over to a more home local carrier. Ended up working at Delta for the past 7 years now,
Okay.
and it's just been a great experience being able to just have the flexibility and the benefit to really go anywhere in the world if you have the time off. So that's been kind of where the desire to travel really began. I would
Yeah.
say at Air France, the JFK, but then transitioning over now to more local carrier, legacy carrier, the Delta.
Legacy. Okay, so that's exciting, and I love that. And I think, as you said, like working with the airlines is a great way to kind of get your test feelers out there. So before we go to break, we gotta know Air France or Delta.
Oh, Delta. I mean,
Oh,
they're partners. They're partners. But
okay.
as as an American living in the United States,
Yes.
Delta for sure.
Okay. Nice. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back with Gabe as he continues to tell us about his travel. Welcome back to Young Black Travelers. I am here. I'm Simone. I'm talking to Gabe, and he was just telling about his why and his experience working with Air France and Delta. But I'm kind of want to know why Delta. Like, what is it? Like, people always talk about Delta. They love them some Delta. I'm a. I used to be like my favorite was JetBlue, and then they kind of got crazy with their prices. So now I am kind of going team Delta, but people are they swear by it. What is it for you?
I think for me, it's the network.
Okay.
As far as just like the ability to go. I mean, from JFK, obviously, we're more of a transatlantic hub. We do like a lot of European flights, which is great. But you can also go to like Detroit, Minneapolis, Seattle, and head on over to Asia. From JFK, you can also go to Africa from here. I just think that the network itself and the ability to go to all these different places, for me, living in New York City is what attracts me to them. And obviously, the product itself, I
Yeah.
mean, is, I think if, obviously, I mean, people might say I'm biased, but
Obviously.
but I think the product itself is fantastic. And the coworkers I work with and have worked with in the past, present, and hopefully the future as well, they're also top notch as well. So I think it's to me, it's a real family type
Yeah.
environment, type of vibe. On
Love
top of the
that.
added benefit of having that like network where you can really go anywhere in the entire world. That is like to me the most
Yeah,
interesting
definitely.
aspect.
Absolutely. So what is it you specifically do though with
Yeah.
Delta?
So originally I used to work the gates, did that for a little while. Then I went and worked rivals. And then when 2020 came right before the pandemic, just decided to take a little bit of a change
Hmm.
and go pretty much seasonal, which is only for a portion of the year I would work. I've been doing that now for 4 years,
That's
just below the
great.
wing. And it's been great. I mean, I'm not there year round anymore like I used to be, but
Hmm.
I still keep in contact and, still travel as much as I can when I can. Obviously, life as you
Yeah.
get older
And
sometimes
that's the
takes
way to
different.
keep your benefits, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
awesome. So seasonal travel for all of our listeners, like a seasonal worker, you can also do with airlines and you still get the added benefits. So
Right.
that's a way to kind of get it there as well. So thanks for mentioning that also as well. So I want to get into a little bit deeper into your travel, right?
No
And
problem.
I know that you mentioned to me prior that you traveled to Iceland, Thailand, and France, correct?
Yeah. There's some of the places, but yeah, my
Yes, some of
favorites,
the
I would
places
say.
that
Yeah.
you traveled to. And so can you tell us a little bit about what kind of inspired you on those decisions? Because I did ask what was your most memorable
Yeah.
and you wrote those. So tell us a little bit about what was it for you that you did France, Iceland, and Thailand.
So I'll start with France first.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Paris back in 2016. That was my first time traveling outside of the country by myself.
Yep.
Um, so for me, that was the eye-opening thing because I was always traveling with my parents, going somewhere out the country. I never like had taken the step to do it by myself. And I was 2016. I was 23, just turned 23.
Okay.
Um, and it was just it was a stepping stone for me because obviously like my sister and my parents and my close friends were like, why are you going by yourself? It's a different country.
Mhm.
You don't know anybody there. But I just felt like it was something that I had to do. I just felt the calling to do it. Just to try to, if I didn't like it, I didn't like it. If I did like it, I liked it.
Right. It's true.
And
Yeah.
got on the plane, went to France, and had the time of my life. Um, Definitely for me, that was like the birth of me wanting to travel more and more and more. Got to Paris and just the ease of the city. I just
Mm,
felt very comfortable. I know some people might say Paris is not their favorite place to go, but for me, just getting there, the ease of utilizing the train RER there was just so simple in my mind. And I
mhm.
got to the hotel pretty quickly, was able to tour the city, meet different people, take in the French sights and sounds and all those different things. And it just opened up my eyes to like, if this
Yeah,
is one country in Europe, I mean, how many more places do I need to go to experience this over and over and over again, that same sort of joy?
I
So I came
agree.
back from that trip really just with more joy or more encouragement to keep going and finding new
Yeah,
countries to travel to. And doing it
I would
solo
say,
also.
yeah, no, I would say that like the first trip has a special place in your heart. Like
Yes.
as a solo traveler, you always remember that. Like that's really memorable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some people might not be solo travel might not be their thing. Um, for me, it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I love solo travel for a lot of different reasons, but I also love group travel. Group travel is fun. You have more people, and if the vibes for everybody in the group is good, then everything
It's
works out well.
good. Yes.
But solo travel is like, the good thing about solo travel is you can do what you want when you want. You're not on anybody's schedule, and
Ab-
that is absolutely amazing. So, um, I like them both, but that first
Mhm.
trip to Paris, being the solo trip, that first trip, just everything, it really opened up my eyes to see that I have more
It's
places to
beautiful.
go to, which then led to me going to Thailand the next
Mm-hmm.
year. I did that as a group trip, and the
How
group
was
was
that?
fine. The group was fine. They
Yeah.
had we had some ruffled feathers
Okay.
along the way, but
That happens.
it happens.
It
But I
happens.
had a great time. I know I told you Thailand, but I really just love Southeast Asia in general.
Mm,
I think the US dollar goes very, very far in
it
Southeast
does.
Asia, as far as this hotel accommodations and price of food. And
Yes.
it's just, it really, I just loved it. I mean, you can go to the beach and get a massage for $5 US dollars.
Yes.
Um,
That Thai massage is everything.
it does something to you, right? I loved it so much. I went 2 years in a row.
Listen, I was going like every day. I was like, yes, this is the life.
You try different ones. You try the hot oil one
Right.
day, do acupuncture the next day. Yeah, it's just nothing like it. So I love Thailand. That was like my first time like getting to go to Asia,
Uh-huh.
and just being immersed in the Southeast Asian culture. I actually went to Thailand. The next year I came back, went to Thailand, did Thailand, Singapore, and Korea for about
Ooh.
2 weeks. So
Uh-huh.
that was like my second. Korea is kind of Northeast Asia, but Singapore and Thailand, Southeast Asia. So that was
Yes.
fun. And just really enjoyed my time in Phuket. Got to go over to the Phi Islands, which is some of the most beautiful islands and most beautiful water that I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
crystal clear.
It's beautiful. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, Instagram doesn't do it justice of how
No, no, it
beautiful
doesn't.
those islands are. They are just, my mind can't even fathom,
Yes.
honestly, what I
No,
saw.
seriously. Seriously.
So
I was
so
like,
that
yes,
that was fun.
paradise. So how was Iceland?
Yeah, it was great. That for me, that was I just graduated from grad school. And I just wanted to take a trip. So my best friend and I we went over to Iceland. Sometimes people think Iceland, oh, it's in Europe, it's so far away. But in reality,
Mhm.
it's not as far away as people might think. I mean, I think the flight was quicker than flying to like Los Angeles or something like that. Um, Got there like at 9 a.m. ish or so, and pretty much just hopped in the car and the rental, and we literally drove straight to the center of the country and saw all these different beautiful waterfalls and geysers
Nice.
just spewing out from the ground. It was cold, but the
Mhm.
geysers made it feel a little bit warm. It also helped. I ended up having to buy another jacket out there because it was just, I mean, it was cold, cold, cold. But I got a nice little Iceland jacket out of it, so that was nice.
There you
Uh,
go, souvenirs.
right. Went to the Blue Lagoon. It was beautiful. Just the
Yes.
water was so therapeutic, and to think that it's heated up by volcano volcanoes or magma, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was also really cool. It felt great. They gave you like a little face mask, and they have like a little slump bar in the pool as well.
Chillaxing.
It was just a great overall experience. We got like at 9 p.m. and
Mm-hmm.
then we were there for a day. We went to bed like at 3 a.m. I don't even know what we got a hotel room for because by the time we, actually went to sleep, it was time to pretty much go back
That's
to the
super
States.
cool though. Like
Uh,
doing a day trip essentially to Iceland.
yeah, it
That's
was.
pretty cool. I love it. Like people are like, let's take there's like one day itineraries now to like Chicago or the Midwest. But you're like one day trip to Iceland, why not? I love that. That's awesome. Put that out there. Y'all could do it in one day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big country. Well, it's a decently sized country, right? So,
Hmm.
in a perfect world, yeah, you probably want like a 3 or 4 or 5 days to actually go to different parts of the country. But
Right.
it's
But if
possible
you
to
have
do
one
it,
day,
right? If you got one day, it's possible to do it. I think next time I go back, I'll probably end up going to the southern ring there and go to the Black Beach,
yeah.
the Black Sand
Ooh.
Beach. Looked nice. So hopefully that next time I get over there, hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully, why not? Yes. Well, I love that. So, thanks for giving us a little bit of insight on Iceland, Thailand, and France. So, thank you for sharing about your trip to Iceland, Thailand, and France. So, tell me. So, what was something that surprised you regarding like culture, food, or people when it comes to those countries that you visited?
Culture, food, or people?
Or like a story you had, like that was a really cool experience.
I think one of the cool experiences I had was in Thailand. I was able to watch them go out and catch the fish.
Oh
Literally
yeah?
from the lake or whatever it was, sea lake. I don't know what it was.
Uh-huh.
They caught the fish and
Yes.
they cooked it right in front of you. And I think that was like the
Ooh.
first time like I've seen like somebody actually go out catch a live fish and cook it and everything right in front of you. And for me, that was like, wow, like this is crazy. I mean, I'm so used to
Yeah.
going to a grocery store and just getting fish
Mhm.
from the guy in the back that just chops it up and you're done. It's probably boneless. But this was like
Right?
pure bone in the fish, straight from the lake,
Love that. And it was
spiced up,
good,
and it
right?
was it was huge. It was delicious.
Yes.
So that was as far as food. I love the food in Thailand. Thai food is fantastic. I know people say don't take the street food there, but for
Mhm.
me, I was fine the whole
I eat
entire
it.
time, and I didn't
Yeah.
have any issues. I would
Yeah.
say I usually eat in moderation, anyways. So, but I think for food wise, I love the Thai food. Um, as far as culture, the French culture, I think is incredible.
Yeah.
But I think the history that's in the city, I think really just it just gives you like a lot of just desire to continue to just continue to walk the city. I think the city is pretty walkable. Whether it's
Mhm.
going down Champs Elysees, looking at the Eiffel Tower, but really just the
Okay,
architecture,
French.
just looking at all the different architecture. The city it just draws you in. The
Mhm.
food, not anything to write home about. But I think the
Right.
city itself just has so many different historic sites, Notre Dame, all these different things. It's just honestly, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
And I really would recommend if anybody was, nervous about going anywhere for the first time, I think Paris is a great starter city.
Yeah.
Just because of the ease of getting through the city. It's just my personal belief. Some people think opposite to me, but that's my personal belief. So as far as culture, I really loved um, Thailand. As far as people,
Yeah.
um, all three were fantastic in all three of those countries. Um, I would say in Iceland, I think it's the one place where I just felt very safe in the
Yeah.
country itself. Everyone
Okay.
was just
Tell us
very
about that.
friend. Everyone was just friendly, very kind. Really just it seemed like they wanted to help you learn about their
Mm,
culture, about what their history, and
love that.
point you in the right direction. Obviously, like I didn't have I had an itinerary, but I didn't have an
Yeah.
itinerary for the trip. So
Hmm.
I think for me, speaking to the locals really helped kind of gear like, oh, we should go here next or go here next. So even though we were on that circle of that golden triangle, I believe they call it, I was able to
Uh-huh.
see um different sites because there were locals that were like, oh, you should go to this spot instead. And that was cool.
Oh, that's nice. That's always a good feeling when the people who are there are receptive and like really welcoming
Yes.
to people who are visitors, right? Like I feel like that could make or break a trip, right? Like people just staring at you, or are they like actually, oh, what, engaging in conversation or willing to help? So that's also a good for, I feel like, first time travelers like who are nervous about that, especially when people think about safety.
Right.
Like going somewhere that they feel safe. I was reading something about somebody posted on their Instagram that people leave their could leave their babies outside in like Iceland because it's so safe while they go to the store. Like I don't know about that, but I'm sure it's safe. But to do all of that, it's like okay, yeah, that's a lot. No one will steal your baby, okay, while in Thailand. But that's awesome. And a very mixed in terms of like where to go. So it gives us listeners as well a chance to like see like, are we more interested in food, people, maybe talking to people, or like the culture, as you said, in regards to going to Paris. So okay, so tell us like what was some of the biggest challenges you would that you faced while you traveled in these countries,
That
that you
time.
would give tips to our listeners out here?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the time difference. The time difference can be very nasty.
Mm,
The first time I went to Thailand, I was in Thailand for 4 days or 5 days, very short. And that
mm-hmm.
time difference kicked my butt. I mean, it knocked me all the way out.
Yeah.
And I told myself the next time I come here, I'm going to come here for at least 2 weeks. For the next trip when I came
Mm,
back, I was in Asia for 2 weeks. And that really helped me. So I think
okay.
when you're going that far, from wherever you're at, I think when you have that huge 12-hour, 13-hour time difference, having a lot of time to actually go there and sit there and actually enjoy it, is
Mm,
really crucial. You don't want to be tired the entire time. I think they say that the human body, it takes 1 hour per day to pretty much get into the correct time zone. So, um,
yeah, that's a
as
lot.
somebody, right, it's a lot, right? So as somebody that loves to sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
take naps.
Yes,
It was very
naps
hard the
are
first time I
important.
was there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
challenges wise, man, you've got to make sure that you find a good way to get over into that time zone as quickly as possible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you can start adjusting before you even leave. Like, the week before you leave, like get your body adjusted to what you're going into might help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the biggest thing is just giving yourself a lot of time in the country. And honestly, most of these countries, like, if you go like to Asia, there's so many places to explore within the country. So you really want that time to actually see all these different sights and sounds. So that was probably the biggest challenge, and how
Yeah.
I combated it was going back the next year just for a longer time, and it helps a lot. So
No, I think that's a good tip, right? Like really thinking about the adjustment. I think that is one of the major things because you have to kind of put that in knowing that you're going to be tired, and if you have full itineraries, right? Um how to kind of balance that is going to really be important so you can make the most of your journey. For me, most of the time when I go um international, it's when I come back. When I go, I'm able to fight through that jet lag. I'm like powering through
let's
it.
go,
But when
right?
I'm back, oh my gosh, like it's sometimes a week to 2 weeks. I'm just like, I need my bed. Where's my bed? And
Understood.
that's it. But that's good consideration, right? To do that. And I know there's apps nowadays for people to kind of get their bodies used to the time difference. So
Right.
preparing yourself, like going to bed and 2 hours earlier so you can accommodate yourself. And sometimes they recommend not sleeping on the plane, especially if you know when you get there it's going to be daytime, and then getting your body adjusted in that way. So apps are really good for that. I always aspire to do those apps and stuff and get prepared, but life happens. And it'll work out. But if you guys are interested in that, we'll drop a couple in the link for apps that will be helpful. Okay, Gabe. So before we go on break, can you tell us? So you talked about Iceland, Thailand, and France. Like, which of these countries would you recommend for someone who is truly seeking something unique or a life-changing experience, and why?
Life-changing
Yes,
experience.
a life-changing experience.
I would say, are we looking from the American point of view here?
Mhm.
I would say Thailand. I
Okay.
think understanding that across the globe, on a whole different side of the earth, there are people that are living their lives and they had no idea what's going on in our life, really. They're just living their lives, doing their
Mhm.
day to day. Tourism obviously is really big in Southeast Asia as well. Um, and going there and seeing how they function on a day-to-day basis, it really takes you out of your little bubble and like, oh my gosh, like these
Right.
are actually human beings that are actually living a life. They're actually doing things across the globe. And for me, it helped me overcome what I consider ignorance, as far as
Mm,
thinking that the world revolved around me in New York City, like literal, Gabriel in New York City, the world revolves around me and every American that lives in the United States of America. I mean, obviously, we're a big
yeah.
country, but looking and going to these countries that are out there in Southeast Asia, specifically Thailand that we mentioned, and just seeing how hard people work to provide for their families, and their friends, and they do it with such joy. It's just pure joy,
Mhm.
and that for me was just really eye opening. And it gave me a desire to want to continue to learn about other cultures and other communities. So for me, as far as eye opening, if you want your eyes to be open and experience something new, from the
Yeah.
American point of view, go to Thailand, see how different life is, and see, how for a lot less, they're making it work brilliantly for them. Uh,
Absolutely.
and obviously, the US dollar goes a very, very long way, like we spoke about earlier, in
Yeah.
Thailand. So it also helps a lot. So I would say if you want to get your eyes opened, definitely Thailand for sure. France,
Love that.
Iceland, obviously great, but the European, so they have a little bit more,
Yeah. Yeah.
resources and connections and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So
Okay. Well, Thailand it is. Thailand is one of my tops as well. I love it there, and I would recommend it for anyone, as you said, like truly seeking something different, learning a new culture, history, and just fully immersing yourself into a new space. I feel like that's a good way to start and super affordable. So I agree with that. Definitely. All right, thanks, Gabe. So we'll be back right after a short break. Stay tuned, everyone. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Young Black Travelers. Again, we're talking with Gabe on his travels to Thailand, France, and Iceland. And I just want to quickly do a quick shout out on our Instagram. We like to shout out somebody that we follow that's doing their thing. And so I want to shout out the excursion doctor. She does a lot of cool itineraries for New York City specifically, as well as hotel recommendation, food that you can try, hotels that are having great deals, and like just how to make the most of your travel. Her page is flashy, well curated, and so check her out when you get a chance. Again, that's Excursion Doctor. Yeah. And so, Gabe, before you go, we love to play a game on Young Black Travelers. We love games. And so this game is a little bit different. This one is which country? You have 3 choices, right? Thailand, France, or Iceland.
Oh, you're pigeonholing me.
Yes. So I'm gonna give you a phrase, and you're gonna say which one is better for this specific thing that I'm gonna ask you. All right? You can only pick one country. You ready?
Gotcha.
Okay. So which country, Gabe? Thailand, France, or Iceland for scenic landscapes?
Thailand.
Okay. Oh, I thought you would have said something else. I thought you would have said Iceland, but okay.
I wanted to, but those islands in Thailand, man, are just too beautiful
Okay,
for words.
got you. Yes, that does it. Okay, I got it. Okay, so for museums,
France.
what was your favorite?
Louvre.
Yes, it's so beautiful. You can spend the whole day in there.
Absolutely.
All right. So for food,
Thailand again.
Thailand. What was your favorite?
The fish. The fish was just so good.
The fish.
I'm a seafood fan. I don't like salmon, but besides that, I love fish. Love crab legs. But the seafood in Thailand was just, I don't know if it was amazing or if it was just the fact that you could actually see it being caught and cooked at the
Probably
same time.
all of that.
It was fresh. It was just fresh. It felt real.
All of it. All right. So which one for adventure?
I'm going to go with Iceland. But it's very close to Thailand, but I would say I'd go with Iceland.
What was the adventure?
Just, I think the country, I mean, if you go throughout, in the, their winter months or, early spring, they have the Aurora Borealis with the beautiful lights in the sky. I didn't get to see it when I was out there because I went there in May and it's like the end of the season. You had to go to the north side of the country to see it. And it was just a drive, but it looks beautiful on pictures. That's right. I have to go back again. But there's different, hot springs throughout the entire country. You can go to Black Sandy. The country just looks, it's just a beautiful place. So as far as like scenes, I would say that's probably the place.
So for history,
I would say France. A lot of people know about the French Revolution, and all that went into it with them, pretty much revolting against Marie Antoinette and all that. So I think history-wise, definitely France. They have a rich history. I'm not too familiar with Iceland history or Thailand history, but obviously, most of us know about the French Revolution. So
yeah.
Also
why not learn a little bit more?
Yeah, there's a lot of historical buildings there too. So
Correct.
That you've seen your whole life. So I mean,
I know you see it in the textbooks. It's a different experience when you see it in person. So
absolutely,
I get that. All right, so where are we going for relaxation?
Thailand.
Put
your feet in the sand. Put your feet in the sand and relax. That's all you gotta do. Or get on the yacht and just ride away.
That sounds perfect right now.
It does.
Oh my gosh.
Especially as the temperature drops.
Seriously. All right. So where are we going for great shopping?
France. Champs-Élysées. You have to go shopping in Champs-Élysées. Yeah, so.
You have to have money. Bring your money.
That's true. Bring your money with you too. That's right.
But great shopping, yes. All right, for cost effectiveness.
I'm going to go with Iceland. It's a very expensive country. But I think France is more expensive. Thailand is probably the cheapest, I would say. But man, as far as just... What was the question again? Because I'm going to make sure I'm adding factors into it. That's why I think it's different. I don't want to add any factors. So what was the exact?
All right. So which country for if you're thinking about cost effectiveness?
Cost effectiveness in general. okay, Thailand's a cheaper country. The dollar goes far there, so I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
Dollar goes far there.
But why did you choose? I'm curious now. Why did you choose Iceland first?
It's closer. So for me, the time difference doesn't hurt as bad. So you're willing, I guess, to do more, but also like it's like there's so many beautiful sights and sounds that you don't have to pay for. You can just look at through driving. In Iceland, that I felt like you don't really need to spend as much more money. I mean, you're really spending money just for food. I don't feel like I spent much money on attractions while I was there. That's the difference. I would say. Fair. I just kind of was able to see all these different mountains and geysers and plates. We saw the division between the North American and the European continental plate. I mean, those things cost nothing, So
right.
So that's why I say it was very hard. The dollar does go further in Thailand, but I think Iceland is like not too expensive in the thought that you can do a lot of things for almost nothing.
That's fair. I love that, right? A lot of driving, scenic kind of adventure right there. All right, the last one. Which country, Thailand, France, or Iceland, for unique experience?
Unique.
Or unique experiences.
I would say Iceland. There's I mean, obviously in France, it's here at the end of the day, it's a European city, so you can kind of you see in a European city they're not similar, but they're similar. Thailand, it's Southeast Asia. I've been to other countries in Southeast Asia as well, and they're not the same, but they're similar.
Right.
I feel like Iceland is really its own unique animal. I think where it's situated at, the top of the Atlantic Ocean, and it's kind of an island to itself. Really nothing else over there, honestly. And then just the amount of different sights and sounds they have, I think, are just unique to that country itself. And for someone that likes to kind of lounge, I'm a lounger's traveler. Like I like to just sit and like just relax.
Yes.
And if there's ever a hot spring or anything like that, you will find me there. And I think that's really what this is like. Yeah, this is the place to be. Just surrounded in that it's cold outside, but in that water, you go beneath your neck, and you are living your best life. So for me, I would probably say unique experiences that you can't get anywhere else. Definitely Iceland.
Yep. Okay, I love that. Okay, awesome. So you got a little bit of a feel, listeners, for where to go for whatever you're looking for, whether that's Thailand, France, or Iceland. So thank you, Gabe, for coming on and speaking with us and sharing your knowledge and your experiences. And hopefully, that inspires others as well to kind of get out there and explore. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So thank you all for listening to our podcast. Please share it, right? And follow us on all social media platforms. If you are interested in buying our merch as well, please reach out to us. You can send us an email or DM us. That's fine. We're on Facebook, Young Black Travelers, TikTok, Young Black Travelers as well. The same thing on Instagram, Young Black Travelers blogs, and Threads as well, Young Black Traveler blogs, and our website, www.youngblacktravelers.com. So be aware when you travel, keep it safe, and happy traveling while you're at it. Explore, eat some good food, take some good pictures. See you guys next time. Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you. I appreciate it.